Hello, everybody. Jen from AnimeInkArt Live Talks. I'm your host, Lizzie. Welcome back to our show, which we talk to different creators in the community about their journey in content creation and how we can support each other better in the community. So today, we have very special guest, returning guest, SJSlays Cosplay. So resume is long. Hi, love. She's an author. She's a writer. She's a cosplayer. She's a founder of 242 Cosplay Nation. She's also the board secretary for DOF Corporation. You also will know her as the ambassador for Sovereign Comics, as well as the director of operations for Sovereign Comics, as well as the distributor in the Bahamas for Sovereign Comics. And she does so many things and is an amazing person. So definitely let's get this started. So I'll send the requests and hopefully Instagram doesn't take too long. All right, so let's go.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you, Lizzie?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. I can't complain.
Good. And again, I want to thank you so much for coming back on. It's been a year since the last time you've been on.
Yeah. I thought about that actually back when year. But it's always really good talking to you.
Of course. And so much has happened since then. I'm so proud of you. And for the people that may not know who you are, introduce yourself.
My name is SJSlays Cosplay. I am a Bahamian cosplayer. I have been cosplaying for about 6 years now. Which feels weird to say, but yeah, it's been 6 years. I kind of wear a lot of hats. So like now when people ask me what I do, I'm just kind of I don't know what to tell them first or even like where to stop because at some point it gets to be too much.
That's true. And I wanted to actually do so many things, but for people who may not know, what did you start with when you first started sharing content?
When as SJ Slays, definitely cosplay. So I started in December of 2018, and I started with my Misty cosplay. And from there, I built a community of Bahamian cosplayers. Like when I first started out, there wasn't really any anime events or even like there was a community that would dress up for like Halloween and stuff, but like there were no dedicated cosplayers. Certainly nobody was calling themselves that until like kind of just decided, hey, I want to do it. And a lot of it had to do with like the Marvel films being popularized over here because being that the Bahamas is 90% black, I did kind of worry that like cosplay would never be a thing here, but I was very genuinely shocked that like when I started posting content, people really took to it, and I think they kind of had been waiting for permission to do it themselves. So, yeah, 6 years later, we now have like a thriving community of Bahamian cosplayers and even like people going away to like regional conventions and winning awards at Bahamians, which is really, really cool and fun to see.
That's awesome. And it just always warms my heart knowing that people from the Caribbean, West Indian, because I'm also West Indian, now they feel like they have that courage. And you helped a lot, especially when it comes to like the Bohemian community. So I want to ask, how was it growing up for you, being Bohemian and loving the things you love? And how does it feel to have like a full circle moment? Not only are you part of the cosplay community, but you ended up creating your own cosplay community and you're able to push it in the way that you do.
Um, it's interesting because a lot of Bahamians that were in the quote unquote nerd space or geek space, like as um, teenagers or kids, like talk about this phenomenon of like when I was in school, when I know that this stuff was not something you like bragged about. Like it's not something you had a conversation with everyone about because like you would be almost outcasted or like deemed like childish or whatever. So it's really cool that in the recent, and I say recent, I mean the last like 10 years or so, things have become more popularized. And of course, there are like good things about that and bad things about that. Personally, like I love knowing that cosplay is more accessible, and geek things are more accessible to people these days. I like that I can have a conversation with someone about it without immediately being labeled as like weird or a creep or anything like that, because there was that whole stigma around being a geek as a child, and now it's like I can have a conversation with Marvel about anybody, and I love that. So no real complaints from me aside from the occasional weirdness you get from people that like don't know how to operate in fandom spaces, but conversation for another day.
Enough fear. Hi guys coming in, and I want to say when it comes to cosplay, what are some of the lessons you've learned along the way? Especially for those that may not know, you've also been able to professionally cosplay now, and congratulations being able to go to the Alias Expo in Trinidad, and you were able to cosplay professionally twice in a row. So what were some of the lessons that got you to that point, and how was the experience last year?
Hi Ringo. Um, what have I learned? I've learned so much from cosplay, to be honest with you. One thing I will say is like cosplay really opened my mindset, like in a way, like I talk about like it saved me because it did. If you talk to somebody who knew me before I started cosplaying to when who I am now or like how I am now, they definitely tell you like it gave me a major confidence boost. I used it as a form of self-expression. So like for me, it just allowed me to become more of who I already was inside, but maybe didn't let people know. Um, so there's that. Um, I also think it helped me to discover the kind of person I want to be in terms of like wanting to provide safe spaces for other people. Um, and also like being able to, in a way, like I always had friends who didn't live in the Bahamas, but cosplay really opened that up for me. And being able to actually have like almost family bonds with people that live nowhere close to me. um, is another thing. So like I really think it helped me in terms of being able to just create bonds with people and have lasting friendships. So it's really nice. But yeah, in terms
That was awesome.
um professionally cosplaying, so I used to be the cosplay coordinator for a local anime event here. Um
Yep.
I also occasionally help my friend Mutant Glue out. She is a very well-known cosplayer. She's actually guesting at MomoCon, which is a huge deal. And I actually get to be her handler, so that's really cool. Um, Valve Cosplay also reached out to me to be the cosplayer of their character Tectonica, so I get to do that professionally. There's so many wonderful opportunities that I've had just because I've been willing to say yes to myself even when I wasn't sure that I was good enough.
Mhm. That's true. That's definitely, and as again, like I said, I'm so proud of you. There's so much that has happened since then that I definitely want to talk about. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was that for you to talk about 242 Cosplayer Nation, how you got that started. And I wanted to congratulate you on having the first ever, you know, award ceremony. So it's a two-parter. The first is what inspired you to create this community that you've created, this company that you've created, and how was the process for making that award ceremony? I watched the whole hour on YouTube, and I just want to say it was very well done. I'm so proud because I know the last time you were on the show, you were saying how like you didn't know how it was going to be and what was going to happen, but you had so many people to back you on it, so many different companies that you didn't think was going to support you. So I definitely want to ask how that process was. But first, if you want to tell people how you created 242 Cosplay Nation.
Sure. When I started cosplaying, or when I decided that I was going to go full force into cosplay, hi sis, hi Nick. Um, I did it with the intention of wanting to create a community here. Like that was not an afterthought. That was at the forefront of my mind. Like I started my cosplay account and started posting and doing shoots locally because I was hoping that I could attract the people that always wanted to do this and just didn't either have the courage or the know-how of how to get started. So initially what happened was I did a Misty shoot and a Spider-Gwen shoot. Then all of a sudden I saw, or somebody pointed out to me that um the Heyman actor did a Spider-Man shoot.
Yeah.
They tagged me in their shoot and was like, y'all should collab. And I was like that's awesome. Like already, like barely even getting started, but like already have an opportunity to make this a big deal and like gain other people, other Bahamians' interest in cosplaying. Like this is what I want. So I reached out to Kadish. Kadish is an amazing guy. He actually just starred in the first Bahamian animated project called Nassau Rock. I was the villain and he killed it. So he's a really cool guy. And I'm so glad we did that shoot. It was Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man. You would have to scroll like a really long way to find it. But Independence Day, that's one of my most liked photos are from that shoot. I imagine just because people like seeing you cosplay with other people, but also like it was kind of a historic moment. I know Ringo for one, like credits that as being like the birth of 242 Cosplayer Nation. But from there, it's just been kind of reaching out to people, meeting them at events or them seeing what we're doing and say, hey, how do I be a part of this? And it's crazy to think that like it all started with a photo shoot and we just did like our 5th Spider-Man shoot at the community like in March. So like it's kind of funny that we're still doing Spider-Man shoots in a way, but I know like that franchise really speaks to a lot of people for good reason. Especially with the theme and the message that like anyone can wear the mask. Like I love that. But in terms of the Cosplayer Nation Awards, that a lot of that, a big chunk of that was because of Ringo. It was an idea that I had a while ago that I really wanted to put into implementation, but like I had no experience. Like I literally was just going to be like, you know what? If nothing else, what I'll do is we'll just announce the winner on Instagram and I'll just deliver them a cute little certificate and we'll call it a day, just so that they can feel good about themselves. I just wanted a way to make the Bahamian cosplayers feel some more seen. At Ringo, I was so fortunate to like befriend and find out that like she had a lot of experience working for the Elevation Awards, which was a huge deal here for like the music industry in the Bahamas. And given her background in that, she really stepped up to the plate and was like, okay, here's how we do your idea and make it make sense. Here's how we pull off your stuff. And anytime I would go a little bit outside line, she'd be like, no, come back, come back, come back. Or she'd be like, okay, I like that. Here's how we can actually make it happen. She literally put together the run-up show. She put together the graphics that you saw, which were beautiful and amazing. She worked backstage, not even being on island, mind you. Like make sure everything ran on time and coordinated with our friends Three Blurred Ninjas who hosted on their platform. So like honestly, I am very blessed in this life to have come across people who not just support me, but support the vision. Because without them, it would have been so much smaller than it was. I also thank my friend Crochet, who basically like managed everything us on site while I'm running around like a chicken without a head. But like literally, they are my 2 emotional support people in the Bahamas because without them, I wouldn't know what to do. It definitely was a teamwork makes the dream work situation.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It kind of felt like you guys' own version of like the Oscars between like the clips and stuff that you had. I definitely felt like that feeling and the vibe in the community. So I had to watch it. I could have not do this
I really,
watching it.
I really appreciate that. Like I so appreciate the support. It's just, without it, like I wouldn't be anywhere. So I'm genuinely honored, especially with your Caribbean background. Like it means more to me that you watched it just because like yeah, you know the struggle. You know like, there's not a whole lot of people that are like trying to actually get recognition for others or for creatives in general in the Caribbean. So like this so is a very small way that I wanted to give back to the community. And like I said, I'm very grateful that I have people in my corner that can help me make it happen, or in a lot of cases are the reason it happened in the first place to the degree that it did.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And for people that may not know, I my parents are from the West Indies. They're from Guyana. So when I do bring up like I get really excited. I do get really excited because I know how it is. We didn't have that growing up. So the fact that I even know people now that are from there, I get really excited about it. Like a little emotional sometimes.
Like Sean Riaz, he is actually a Trinidadian comic book creator in Trinidad. Like he just, well, I don't know if it's just, but I know that they released a comic book called Red that I'm dying to get my hands on because it's about Caribbean folklore. So like definitely check that out if you haven't. But I met him. Well, I at least I watched his panel. I don't think we actually got a chance to speak, but I watched his panel in Trinidad when I went to Alias. So I love the getting these little connections with people who you share a background with to some degree, and being able to support them in any way just because like it feels more genuine. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. And I wanted to say there's also like a great extension when it comes to all the activities you do for 242 Cosplayer Nation now since the last time we spoke, because you always had like the theme photo shoots, but now it extended to like the photo walks that you have is something that like you started after being in like the Chameleon Coalition. And then you also have like the print shop as well. And you're still doing the Sweeter Eatery, but it's like extended to like, with the show, and you're able to do like full service, and that's really helping with like all the things that you're doing for 242 Cosplayer Nation. So I want for people that may not know all these extensions, you can share that now.
So much. And I think that part of that again is just because I have really good support system and friends. Like Sweet Tree Eatery was Ringo and Crochet's brainchild. They actually came up with a way for that. They came up with the idea for it because they realized initially that I was doing too much myself, and I was also paying a lot of for things out of pockets, and they were like, "Stop doing that." So they came up with Sweet Tree Eatery as a way to fundraise for the community, and thank God they did. Because if we didn't have that, we definitely wouldn't have been able to do half of the things that we're doing now. But so Sweet Tree Eatery is our baked flail extension that we've then converted into a maid cafe that we use as part of our award ceremony now, but also hoping to actually make it a full-fledged maid cafe one day. We'll see how that goes. Um, uh, let's see what else. The photo walk was definitely something I stole from Hulu. Again, having a great support system helps because, like, if you are, they particularly MG, like she has been so many different communities and has had a lot of experience running a community that like she has fantastic ideas, but also she's such a genuine supportive person that like she is the first person to tell you like, hey, you should do this with your community, or hey, here's how you can do it with your community if this is something you want to do. Or honestly, she doesn't get enough props for like the amount of ideas and collaborative spirit that she has. So like I really appreciate her just for being so willing to share her ideas with me when a lot of people in this community gatekeep. So
That's true. No, yeah, she really is like an integral part of the community. Even just whoever that she interacts with, she usually is very supportive of.
That's why I'm so glad that like I actually have the opportunity to go and be her handler for MomoCon this year. Cause like I know I've been wanting to be a guest for MomoCon for years. And the fact that this is their 20th year and she's a guest is a huge deal. And no, I won't stop. No, I will not. I like I almost like going to the point like no, I have to be your handler because I have to be sure that you are good and poppin' and all of that. Like we can't go half step into MomoCon. I need to make sure that I'm there to make sure that people, you know, everything is in order because I will do that.
Yes, that's very true. And for people that may not know, you're also a writer as well. And I wanted to, because the last time we spoke, we were talking about the Hellcat. Now it's out. It's out.
It's not out yet.
And I,
It,
okay.
it's actually in the almost. Yeah, it's kind of in production hell. And that's
Okay.
for no other, like, it's entirely my fault. Um,
Okay.
so, like, part of why I was saying, like, thank goodness we have Sweet Treat Eat Treat, because A, I can't pay for things out of pocket now because I've been out of work for about 6 months. It's been rough. So I've hit a little financial snag, and it just kind of is what it is. We are about, I want to say 10 pages away from being finished, but like I'm the type of person where it's like if I can't pay my artists, I don't want them to work on it because I would rather pay them for the work. My artists mean a lot to me, especially because they've been with me from the beginning. They're amazing people and they bring their ideas to me. Like they have done everything I've asked and more to bring my character to life. I want to make sure they're as supported as possible. But yeah, it's sort of like until I can get a little bit more lucrative again, it's kind of at a pause. Like hopefully, like sooner rather than later, it should be out next this year or next year.
Okay, of course. But so it's a two-parter. So I wanted people to know what inspired you to start writing because outside of like the Hellcat, you were writing before then, and you also have your Substack where you share your poems and your flash fiction and stuff like that. So I wanted you to share how long you've been writing, what inspired you to write, and then if you want to share a little bit about what the story of Hellcat will be.
Uh, I've always been a writer. Like even when I wasn't physically doing it, I was doing it in my head. I've always been telling myself stories to some degree or another. That's kind of the thing that I think comes the most naturally to me, and that I really need to lean into more, but I don't for some reasons. But uh, in terms of, I would say like I've been physically writing for since I was about 12. Um, and it's been stories, it's been poetry, it's been a wide range of things. I even was like a spoken word poet in our local community for I want to say about 5 years. But I kind of fell off with that, so like I don't do it enough. But I still have a lot of friends in that community that I like to support and go out and see when they're performing. Um, in terms of the Hellcat, that's probably the story that I've been working on the longest. So one of the reasons why it's one of the first ones coming out. It, in terms of the story, it is about a woman on the run from a past that gets thrown back into that past and has to do more than save herself to get out of it.
Mm, that's awesome. And I love the cover art for that. For those that may have not seen it, make sure you check that out, especially for Saga Comics and all the promotional that they're doing for it. And your story with Saga Comics is probably one of the most interesting because there's so many things that you do within Saga Comics. And for people that may not know, hopefully I say this as accurate as possible. It did start with, you were the face for some of the characters, particularly one of the most recent ones is Tectonica Jordan Brown from Stars. And you also have two more characters. I know it's Kiiti from Sigma, I believe. And I was trying to remember what the second Breather from which one is it? From My Cypher Team. That's the second one?
Yeah, so TikTok from Stars, Kaidi is from Ayanmo Stigmata, which is a trippy name. It can trip you up. Yeah. And Breather is from Cypher Team Up.
Yes, and you're also an ambassador for Sovereign Comics, as well as you're a distributor for Sovereign Comics. And one of the newer things which I'm also excited about when it comes to Stars is that you're also helping as an editor for the series as well. And you're also on the cosplay variant cover of the new series coming out that the Kickstarter came out. So that's like for the most part that I know that you're involved with Sovereign Comics. So I wanted to give you a chance to start from the beginning and how this like beautiful relationship started because yours is like the most interesting.
It's kind of weird because I it still boggles my mind. Tyr was one of the first people to follow and support me outside of people who already knew like who I was. And he was like supporting me from the beginning. And I always was like, why is a comic book company following me? Like I have nobody. Um and he said, I didn't know this at the time, but he had said like from my first Misty photo, he like that is Tectonica, and I was like, that's still it still feels weird. But what happened was he messaged me and he's like, hey, would you? This was after, and I want to preface this because I think it's an important conversation to have. This was after he had been supporting me for months and just having genuine conversations with me, no ulterior motive, no nothing like that. Yeah. He just messaged me and he was like, hey, would you ever consider cosplaying one of my characters? And I was like, yeah, sure. Where can I read your stuff? He's like, well, I'll send you this one for free. And he sent it to me and I read them and I then decided I wanted to read more. And at first I picked a completely different character than Tectonica because when I first started cosplaying, like my thought process wasn't always who do I look the most like and more like how can I challenge myself to bring the character to life. So I think I chose Kunoichi first. She's from Cypher Team Alpha. She's a badass character. She's also like become, I think, like basically the mascot for Sovereign Comics. Yeah. And he let me do it and let me have fun with it. And he's like, okay, now I want you to cosplay Tectonica if you don't mind. Like if you would like to, I would like for you to be the face of this character. I was like, it's it's like that. It's on that level. Okay, sure. And it kind of was just perfect timing because at that time I had started actually making my own cosplays because I started out like either closet or buying my cosplays. Yeah. And around this time, like I was like, okay, I want to start making stuff. So it kind of just worked out where one of the reasons why I put myself so hard to learn how to make it was because I wanted to make Tectonica. So I made it. It's probably I want to say it's probably the best thing I've made. Structurally. Yeah. Even though like I've gone on to create slightly more complicated things, I think like that's the best I've done. So, from there, and to be honest, like I've known that I was gonna be on this cover for years. That I was gonna talk about it. And talk about it. So it's kind of like getting congratulations for something that like I mean I've been happening for a while, but it's still pretty cool that it's happening, and also seeing it actually happen is a completely different feeling than just being like, oh, okay, it might happen one day, and it's like suddenly seeing the cover, which I can't thank the photographer, D Nature Photography, enough. She actually gave me my start in modeling, even outside of cosplay, like 10, 10 years or so ago. So to be able to work with her to do the photo for the cover was super important to me. I always tried to highlight Bahamian talent wherever possible. But also, like, we then took the photo, which was already amazing, and sent it to a friend of Newton Glue's and also mine, named Photo Shonen, who is a phenomenal photographer in his own right, but he also edited it to the epic escapist level that it's at now with all the rocks and the almost movie cinematography like feel that it has. And cried when I saw it. So yes.
Well, I was excited for you. I'm just like, let's go. And one thing that's also interesting about Tectonica, and now that you're able to be an editor as well for the series, is the fact that you get some like creative leeway when it comes to the character because it was established that they would have Bohemian roots. So how does that feel for you? And like, how does it feel that you get to put your culture in? Because I think you said that there's like a snippet or like a panel in the a series that like people can relate to, especially if they're Bohemian or Caribbean.
Yeah. So uh, on one hand, I think getting to be on the cover of a comic book is, I always say, like the coolest thing that's happened to me as a cosplayer, and that's true. The coolest thing to happen to me as a writer and like editor is being able to work with Sovereign Comics, just be even beyond the cosplay, because I get to see like all of the behind the scenes stuff. I get to see how Tier's brain works. I also get to have an input on how the stories go, which is insane to me that I have that level of any type of influence at all. So I think it was established after I actually cosplayed Tiktoka for the first time and actually did the shoot where Tier was like, you know what, you just solved a problem for me. And I was like, how do you mean? And she keep like, I wanted Tectonica to, I wasn't sure where she grew up, but I think I'm gonna have her grow up in the Bahamas now. And I was like, what? Especially because like there I remember working in the hotel industry. I used to work for a major hotel over here, and literally tourists would get in arguments with me about whether or not I'm actually Bahamian because they, to their knowledge, like Bahamians are only black, like there are no white Bahamians. So, like to even know that not only is there going to be Bahamian representation in Sovereign Comics, but that she looks like me and she's going to have a lot of my more jokey qualities. She's going to have my culture, my very laid back culture and interests is otherworldly. Like I it still kind of boggles my mind that this is happening. Because it opened the door for more things like this to happen. Like, and Tyr is such a wonderful person in the sense that, like, his stories are naturally diverse. You're not gonna pick up a Sovereign Comics title and see all white people. You're not gonna pick up a Sovereign Comics title and see only one culture. You're gonna see a bunch of different cultures. You're gonna see a bunch of different skin types, skin tones, hair textures. You're not gonna see only one person represented in soccer comics, and that's really the thing that drew me to him as a person, and also to these stories, because too often, like, you either get one side or the other. You don't get the entire picture, or the entire puzzle pieces, and I really love that. So there is a scene in Song 02 where I actually also had help from Ringo again, because like I was he had asked me a very specific question, and I was like, how would I do this? But also I also need to confer with my other Bahamians to be like, let me see if this hits right. So what happens is I think I can at least give this part away.
Mhm.
The villain gets hit really, really hard, and have a particular way of expressing that,
Mhm.
which is like if you see someone get hit or get like knocked out really badly, you say bitch. Oh my god. So I had TikTok to say that, and it's very funny to me. And it's probably going to be very funny to other Mavens when they see it because that's something typical that so that is Tiktonica's reaction to that happening. Yeah.
I love the I love that because people will be like, "Oh, I get it, I get it." And one thing I think that we don't get to talk about in the community, especially like somebody being an ally for like the blurred community or just in general, I have to say you're like the greatest ally. You're one of us at this point. That's what I'm gonna say. You're one of us at this point. I just need you to know that. I think everyone in this chat needs you to know that. You're like with no questions asked. That's was the great part. And I wanted to ask, in your opinion, what makes somebody a great ally for the community, or what can people do to be greater allies in the community? Because we also need your support, you guys' support, in order for us to strive. Because the thing is, it's like we represent ourselves, but we want people to respect us. And sometimes we don't get that respect, but you do it without question. So I would want to ask, what's your advice for people that I know sometimes people feel afraid because it's just like, what if I won't get accepted or what if they push me away? But the thing is with us, is like you do have to understand us and support us. That's all we ask for. So I just want to phrase the question in that way.
Uh, it feels I always feel I don't know what the right word, but I always feel humbled by that because that's just the way I was raised. I don't really feel like I deserve a cookie for it, even though like I do absolutely feel good about being accepted. Um, and I'm laughing because from you saying like, "Oh, you're one of us." My partner, Jaso the Tiger, and my best friend Mute have been telling me that for years, and I always am like, guys, you can't say that in certain spaces because they will not like it. It won't fit. They're not gonna like it. Even though I do naturally know that, like, as somebody with Caribbean roots, not even Caribbean roots, but like I was raised, born, I live in the Bahamas. Here, as a white person, I am a minority. They do say like it's a powerful minority, so like that doesn't erase any privilege or anything that I have, but it is a different mindset. It is a different type of experience. I can go to the States and I know that I can get lost in a crowd because without any of that knowledge, I'm just another white person in the US. But my mindset is different. So and that's not to say like that's something that I don't necessarily feel like I should be getting a cookie for that because I feel like that's how it should be. Like it is the most horrible the things that are happening right now on a global scale, but also just in general, particularly in the US, because like it shouldn't be this way. It should be common sense. It should be something everyone should be raised to do is see other people, regardless of whether they look like you or not, and respect them. And I just feel like I honestly feel like we're getting to the point where we're going to have to go back to basics in terms of teaching people. Uh, the entire education system is going to need like a reprisal, but also like in making an active effort to teach the younger generation like how to be as people. We're going to have to teach empathy. We're going to have to teach compassion because what they're getting at home is hate. What they're getting at home is bigotry and prejudice, and it's bad. Like I had thought that we were past all this, and not with naivety on my part. because how I was raised, again, like my mom was a single parent. She did not raise me to look at somebody different.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. No, I just you were just a perfect person to ask. We really have so much love in our heart for you. Like we just consider you part of the community at this point. I just want to say that. I know people will probably say it all the time, but I'll say it. I don't really get a chance to say it, so
It makes it is very humbling, like I'm trying to describe. Because I am a very emotional person, but like I do feel like I've been looking for acceptance all my life. So like to hear that, to be affirmed by people that I love, to be affirmed by people that I see and respect and get that same love and respect back means the world to me personally. Um, but also like again, like to me, like it should just be common sense for other people. Like it's not even enough to say that like I have Black friends. My entire community is Black. It's weird for me to have a white friend. Like all of my teachers were Black. My prime minister is Black. And I remember having a conversation with Jay's mom about that because Jay's mom, a lot of people don't know, is the president of the NAACP chapter in her area. And like when I met her for the first time and she was like asking me questions of where I grew up, I remember like she asked me, she's like, so if the conference is 90% Black, like, are your leaders Black? I was like, yeah. And it's like, that's something I completely take for granted because it's something I grew up with. But like, it's so, her reaction to that was so like moving because like, I don't think she quite grasped it at the time. She's like, that's weird for her, but it's something so natural to me because that's just the country that I live in. But yeah, I really feel like it's a shame that you have to like even say, "Oh, you're the ally," because like it should just be something that most people just naturally to know how to do. And I think largely like one thing that definitely needs to just happen is I think white people in general just need to realize like not everything is for or about you. It doesn't mean that you can't be involved, but like know how to act in spaces that are not about you. It's okay for everything to not be directed at you. It's okay for everything to, like, for other people to have the spotlight or even just a say and you not immediately try to make it about you or your issues. Or it just, it sounds simple, but like a lot of people like have a really hard time, especially in this day and age, like not giving their input. And it's like, not everything requires your opinion.
I get that. Thank you for sharing that with us, and I really appreciate you sharing it. And I wanted to talk about the Thoth Corporation and how you ended up being a board secretary for it.
I have no idea. I literally I think it was Tier. I think it was Tier. I think Tier put like but again, just like I I'm so grateful for the people that I've met who genuinely love and support me and who I genuinely love and support back because again, you don't think I would be where I am now without that love and support. I think here like sees how passionate I was with the Silvers because like he literally was like, "Hey, I know you can write, and I know you probably have a character that you want to put in the Silvers. Do me a favor, write me a script and let's see where it goes." So I was like, okay. And then I wrote the script and he's like, okay, we're going to turn this script and you're now going to write a mini series. I was like, okay. And then it went from mini series to we could potentially extend this to a much larger part of the Soulverse if you want. And I was like, okay. But from there, went to editing the work. He sees how I tackle that. Then I got director of operations, which is still again like I don't understand how lucky I am with that. So again from there I just think it was like, okay, well, we want to start this passion project for underprivileged or even just people like people are just taking the art out of everything these days. So like, hey, let's stop that or let's give the people that now don't have those avenues an avenue. And we need passionate people to do it. I know a passionate person. And I can only assume that's how it happened because otherwise I don't know. I don't know.
But it is a great initiative for those that want to check it out and see what's gonna be for the future for it. And um I'm also happy to see that like you're showing your art again. That's something that I know that you're like trying to bring back. And for people that may not know how long you've been drawing for, what inspired you to share it a little bit more? Because there's so many things you do that I know that it won't be a lot, but like for people that may care about it.
I can say in multitudes. I can do many multitudes. I think that's actually kind of probably my problem sometimes too, because like I used to be, well, if you had met me growing up, like a lot of people said like I had drive and I had focus, but like I also have a lot of interests. So I sometimes don't always know how to, as an adult, I don't always know like where I need to put my focus because so many things interest me. So I always kind of feel like I'm failing in one area or another. But this is not a therapy session, so I've been going for I want to say since around the same time that I started like actually writing things down, in terms of writing, but like drawing is something I taught myself to do. It's not like writing where it's like I feel like I had a natural inclination to that. I could not draw, and I taught myself how to do it because it was another way to express myself through fandoms. And like I started following this amazing artist named Maria Ochoa. She is a Latina from the States. Um, and we became friends. And literally, her work is what inspired me to start drawing. And like to this day, we send each other things. And like I've taken basically a year off from drawing, and she's still sending me artwork and still encouraging me to create artwork. Yeah. I'm happy that I can now be like, hey, I worked on this. Go look at it. Um, but also part of it was this group called Imagination Inc. Locally started like hosting events and community things for like artists, but not just like fine artists, because like in the Bahamas, that was what got recognition and what got opportunities. But like with the rise of Bahamian manga artists and especially like Nassau Rock, the animation that just came out like a year ago.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of more people like being like, hey, there are comic artists here. There are artists, young artists that are interested in manga and anime and things like that. Why aren't we doing more for them? So I've been following their stuff, and I'm also like friends with some because a lot of cosplayers intersect with the art community.
Yeah.
So just seeing them do things kind of was like, I should get back into drawing because there's community for here that like you would be shocked to know how much just knowing that there's a community and a support system is a source of courage for people. Yeah. You don't know who's watching you and who is being inspired by you.
Yeah. That's very true. And I'm glad to see that you're doing the art again. And I saw like the marvelous rival art that you did and and I'm happy to see what else you do. And also you've been able to like host seminars now, especially when it comes to like the professional cosplaying for Bohemian cosplayers that may want to do like the competitions internationally within the Caribbean or even like more internationally, like help them have like the photo books and stuff that they need. So how did that get started and how do you feel now that you're able to teach other people in your community about that?
I I kind of just look at it as like, what would I have wanted when I started out? What would I have appreciated being available when I started out? What areas do I see local cosplayers not getting? Like what isn't necessarily something they have easy access to? for better or worse. So I love being able to provide it. I don't always know that I'm the best person to do so because teaching does not come naturally to me. It's nothing that I have to really work at. But I love sharing knowledge. I love when the community is interested in hearing things. I love when people are interested in learning things. Um, it's just the unfortunate truth that like sometimes the community says they want something and then they don't support it. That's like, well, how do you expect it to continue if you don't support it?
Yeah.
But it's kind of a situation whereby you learn what to put your energy into. So like while like I said, I want to do everything possible to put the humans, especially like the human cosplayers, in a position to continue succeeding. And I think like that's already happening on up to a large degree, with people like Seriu, who won twice at Alias for third place in craftsmanship. And then we have two Bahamians who are going to another con that could potentially do very well, because they're both very talented cosplayers. And Crochet, who also won third place at Alias one year, like there are some people that definitely don't even need the help anymore, but I also like hope that by us offering these things, it will attract more people to be like, hey, I can also do this. It doesn't have to be limited to the few who make it happen for themselves, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. And something that that I think my audience don't really know about is just like, how hard it's been for like the Caribbean to get to a place, like certain parts, because what people don't know is not every West Indian country has like really felt comfortable getting to the point where like their community itself can like support like anime and stuff like that. I'll be a little bit transparent. I'm from Guyana. You're not gonna see that in Guyana. It's sad to say, but you're not gonna see that in Guyana. They have other issues to deal with, mostly like political right now, especially between, the United States. I'm not gonna get into that. I don't want the Instagram to crash. Just know they're going through a lot with the US. They're not even thinking about that, but there are people in Guyana. I personally know people, Guyanese cosplayers that you may know. Shout out to Corn, shout out to the Modest Music. There's people out there that do like it, but we're just not gonna have it in our country yet. But shout out to the people that do have it. So if you want to share like um how it is being able to help in that way in the Bahamas, but what did it look like in the beginning stages, like when you started before people really like before there was even representation happening over in like the Caribbean or wherever your experience is?
Um, so I can speak for the Bahamas. Like I said, when I started in 2018, there were no local events. There are Bahamian cosplayers now who won't cosplay if there isn't an event happening. Like I was going out and having photo shoots and being seen not having a just like some of them would be like, why are you doing that? But like it's not always about an event. It's just like about being able to tell a story through a character. So like there were no events at the time, at least that I knew of. Ringo actually put me onto the fact that like back in the day, the cage actually used to do like Halloween events, so people would cosplay at their event. But it was again like centered around Halloween. Like the Hammons again when I started out, they were like, if it's not about Halloween, why are you doing
Or like carnival and those type of
that? So like we have Junkanu, which is our cultural cosplay. It is cosplay because they're wearing a costume and they're playing characters and they're dancing and they're winding up and they rush in as we call it. So like if it's not Junkanu and it's not Halloween, and it's not because Carnival also became very popular over here over the last couple of years. If it's not that, what are you doing? Which I found interesting because Junkanooers over the last 5 years have started doing more cosplay Junkanoos. Like it done like Chun-Li, and one year they did the Dora Milaje from Black Panther with like standard and cardboard and these intricate, beautiful looks from material that you would not believe could look that good. So, um, but there were no events. I was doing cosplay photo shoots. I know some others started to do them after a while, and after we started like collaborating, like then we sort of like built it out to where we would have themed shoots. So like if everybody has a cosplay for like One Piece or Naruto or a Spider-Man, like I'd be like, okay, here's what we're gonna do on this day. We're gonna go to this location. We're gonna work with this photographer, and we're going to do these shots. And I would put on like reference photos for like just an idea that I had to be like, I want to communicate this. And sometimes I would be in the shoot, and sometimes I would not be in the shoot, but I would be like coordinating in the background to be like, okay, you want to make sure that your face is angled to the camera, because like I have some modeling experience and some experience working with like photography companies. So like I knew like the little tricks. And, like I want to make sure that your photos look good, but also that like we're again like communicating a story somewhat to people. Then with the rise of like the local anime event here, the cosplay community started to like boom a lot more because we had an avenue or a event to go to meet people and like get interest more quickly. I also like started like the cosplay competitions, which were a huge draw for cosplayers because like you could test your skills, you could get prizes, you could just go up on stage and show off what you worked on or just your cosplay in general, because like I wanted to make it as accessible to payment as possible. So like we started off having a craftsmanship portion and like a you bought your cosplay. I think they call it like exhibition in the States. Or yeah, so like an exhibition run through where it's like you just walked to the catwalk and like showed off your cosplay just because you were proud of it. So I think like that really pushed things, and then seeing people like Crochet or Carib Crochet and Sarah actually place in a regional competition really drew a lot of people to be like, wow, like you can actually do something with cosplay. You could represent your country in a whole different country for it. You can get recognized for it. You can make a lot of beautiful things and feel seen and feel like just recognized for it. And then I also think like with the award ceremony, we also pushed the issue of like you don't. While it is good for you to be recognized for craftsmanship, because that's not easy. Sarah Yu and Crochet in particular, and Venus, another in our community, like they put their whole blood, sweat, and tears into their cosplays, and it really shows. So like they obviously deserve to be put on a pedestal for it, but also there are a lot of other ways to be a good cosplayer. And I really wanted to like focus on that for the award ceremony, to show like you don't have to be an amazing crafter. You can get recognized for the work that you do for the community. You can get recognized for the love and the attention you give to the people that you interact with. There are so many cosplayers in our community that fill a role because they are uniquely themselves. And that's one of the things I love about cosplay is how you make cosplay uniquely yourself without like anything other than skill, personality, like performance, makeup. There's so many different skills that goes into this one hobby, and I don't think it always gets recognized for that. Like it always usually gets recognized in one area but not another. And so that was my kind of like goal and intention with it, is to make sure that like everybody who needs to be seen is seen.
Yeah, that's true, and you're doing the best you can right now, and
Yes.
and I wanted to ask because it's been a year since the last time I asked this question when it comes to like, burnout and feeling overwhelmed and trying to balance. And I feel like you have learned some things since the last time, but I wanted to see like how it's changed, how it's been the same in terms of like what you can do now. Because I know that the support system probably has been like the best thing for you since the last time we spoke. So I just wanted to see if anything changed, if you had a new perspective on things.
Um, to be honest with you, last year was my crash out year. I don't think that I got into detail about this because at the time, I don't think I was really allowed to say much about it. But around the time when we had our interview last year, my sister made an attempt on her life and ended up in a rehab involuntarily. So she's taught, for one, she's fine. She, but now it was an attempt. It wasn't successful. Um, but also she's doing a lot of wonderful things now. So like she's okay. But I was going through a lot. I was going through a lot. And it really kind of forced me to really figure out and decide what I actually align with and what can hold my attention. Because, like I said, I have a lot of different interests. And I'm the type of person who is very driven and passionate. So, like, if you want to collaborate with me or you want to work with me, I'm going to give it my all. Yeah. And that's been almost to the detriment of myself a lot of the time. And so, like, with what was happening to my sister, I really could not devote to anything. I literally like almost I absolutely burnt out. And I'm still sort of clawing my way out of burnout. It might not seem like it, but for me, I'm the type of person where I almost am more it's easier for me to do for others than it is for myself sometimes. So like when I say I'm crawling on burnout, I mean for myself. I'm slowly getting back into actually cosplaying because I haven't really made content for myself in a while that wasn't to do with the community or to do with something else. And part of that, like I said, is just really having to sit back and be like, what am I actually aligned with? What am I doing that I am absolutely like passionate about, that I actually believe in? And being able to like pull myself from things that were no longer aligning with me or that I was no longer aligned with really helps. Also, having the support system that I do, my partner has been invaluable in so many ways. He's also been going through it with some things in his life, but we have a wonderful relationship where we are able to be there for one another even while we're both going through things, which I find is beautiful. We're not perfect, of course, but like I think I think it helps that we both come from places of deep love and respect for one another first. Um, my beautiful, wonderful, amazing twin Mutant Blue has been like the backbone for me for like ever. Like since we met, she had been my ride or die. And I don't think I would be anywhere close to where I am without her. She's just an amazing, supportive friend, both in terms of like with her time, her attention, but also her generous spirit. Like she would give you the shirt off your back if you needed it. And there have been many times in my life where so with that friend for other people. So to have that final myself is like there are no words. I'm so grateful for her always and in everything. Sovereign Comics, like I would say like they are the people that like kept me going because like even when I struggled to be excited about anything last year because of everything that was happening, I was still excited about delivering comics. I was still able to pour my creative energy into that because of how much I believe in their work and because their stories provide an escape, which so many comic book companies and stories these days don't do. Like they want to almost ground you in the reality of things right now, and I'm like, no, I've seen reality. It's not great. I would like to go somewhere else, please. So what I love about them is like they actually provide a story that you can escape into, and knowing that I get to help with that as a editor and with my own stories as well is it's incredible. So yeah, I will say like my best advice for anybody that's dealing with burnout is calm. First of all, deal with yourself, like sit in your emotions and really consider like what are you doing that is it true to you or are you just doing it for other people? Because if you're the type of person that does a lot for other people, you do need to consider that after a time. Like, are you just detaching from yourself and trying to like fulfill the needs of others so that you don't have to focus on your own? Because that will lead to burnout. I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, funny enough, just I talked about my sister. I also wanted to give sort of a conclusion to that in that the same rehab center that she was committed to involuntarily last year, last week Tuesday, my sister organized a mural project for that same rehab center
Oh, wow.
as a way to like give back because she gained some like she's doing well enough for that to be a possibility, which is amazing. But also like not only did she gain perspective from it, but she's also just that type of person that like she has such a big heart. Honestly, like I tell people all the time, my sister is the actual real life superhero. I just like dress up as them because it's true. She has
Mhm.
the biggest heart ever. So like she organized with local artists to put up a mural for them, and she's looking to do that for other places as well. So I'm very proud of her and myself in a way because I think that this is something that we low key kind of got from our mom about being able to like alchemize our pain, like use our pain productively versus like just becoming a terrible person because of it, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's so easy to do in this day and age.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, yes, yes.
He just wants to fight me. He just wants to fight me. That's all he wants to do.
No, I mean, I definitely understand where you're coming from with that because, I mean, for people that know, but I like even if I'm going through stuff, I can go on autopilot and nobody ever knows that. But
Yeah.
I have, I have thanked a few people in the community because they know, and like when they say that I feel more like myself in the past month than the past, we're gonna say a year. That's not an understatement. That's true. And even if I don't get into it here, just know that like this show has helped a lot because like a lot of you guys are like inspiring. So even if I'm not, even if mentally like maybe I'm in the corner overthinking things or whatever the case may be with my psychological state and how I deal with things, um, it helps me get to a state where I need to be for you guys. So thank you guys for
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know where I would be without my support system. Even I don't know if Ringo and Nix are still in the chat, but they also like had a huge impact on me last year, and it was through nothing more than just them being kind. And
Mm.
could like we take that for granted so much in the day and age, I think, because like I think part of it is like you feel like if you're not able to like reciprocate something, it means you're not worthy of receiving it. But like last year when everything that happened with my sister was going on and I also again have been out of work for 6 months, like so many people have like still helped me even when I haven't been able to like do anything for them in return other than just be again kind. And it's just like, wow, maybe good people do exist, and then that feeling inspires you to be good. So like do not ever underestimate the power of just being kind to people. For no agenda or anything, but just like you you never know what that's going to inspire in somebody else. So and I have to thank Ringo and Nixon particularly for that for last year because they were also like my backbone.
Yeah. Yep, understand. And one of the last questions I was gonna ask is, well, I guess it's a two-parter. What are some of the goals you have for yourself, short term, long term, and how has this journey helped you, or what impact has it had for you for all the years that you've been, just helping, either helping us out or pouring into yourself? learning new skills and everything like that?
Um, the unfortunate thing is that, like, I think the last time we spoke, I talked about this as well. My partner and I have been talking about, getting married, but with everything that's happening in the States,
Yeah.
I don't see that happening anytime, or at least not the timeline that I was expecting it to. So like part of it is unfortunately just like the way that things are going, like they're going to impact you in one way or another. So I think we're all kind of just strapped in to see like what's going to happen the next 3 years. But in terms of like personal goals, like once hopefully the states can figure itself out, that is a personal goal of mine, is to live and then be married to my partner. But also uh I would love to get the Hellcat out there sooner rather than later. And hopefully get more issues out. Because like it's all planned. It's all planned. Um I know how the story goes and how it likely is going to end. Like I have a few ways it could end, but like I see the path, I see the vision. It's just a matter of um, things need to fall into place for me to be able to finish the production on the first one so that we can get it rolling on the next one. Currently, I have the goal of helping Sovereign Comics get to their goal for the current Kickstarter.
Yes.
We are currently at, I think, $1,100, and we need 2,500.
Yes.
On one hand, the Kickstarter literally just went up last week.
Yeah.
We've done amazing in the first week. But yeah, guys, please go check out the Stars Kickstarter now. And go back it now. For one, you like, regardless of how it affects me, you guys need to read the story. It's really good. You deserve that. You deserve a story that rocks. You deserve to escape, and like Stars will definitely do that, especially if you look comics that feature strong female leads. And I don't just mean like physically strong, but strong in character. You're gonna love Stars. Um, Second of all, yes, it does help me out. I'm on the cover, so like you can get my cover as an add-on to the Kickstarter, and it's not super expensive either. Like it's like $15 as an add-on. The tiers range anywhere from, I think, the lowest one is 10, anywhere from 10 to 100. But like that's reasonable, and you get a lot of things with it. You actually could also get Cyclone, who with the character Moon Blues plays. You can get her gloves as part of it. You can get the first. If you haven't read the first issue of Stars, you can get that with the second issue of Stars, and then you'll be all caught up. You won't have missed anything. You can get my cosplayer variant as an add-on. You can get drum sets as an add-on. You can get trading cards as an add-on. There's so many cool things in it that you can get, and that's not even including just the story. So absolutely go read Stars. Please go support it now. It helps not just me, but also like Black-owned indie comics. And also you get an amazing story out of it. So who's really winning here? Other than that, I would like to keep doing my drawing. That's my personal goal. Like I realized that part of my burnout was that even though I was doing creative things, I was mostly doing them for other people, and I realized that I need to create for myself at least once a week, if not more, because I actually feel human when I do that. An amazing feeling. It's so weird. The weirdest thing with like convincing myself to do it is, and that's crazy to me, is like, hey, we usually feel better when we do this, so why are we doing it? And usually it's because of fear or something else going on in your brain that's like perfectionism or whatever, but like you just gotta let that go, because there's no such thing as perfect. There are a lot of even imperfect artists who are doing amazing right now, so like that should be motivation to do it. Because if they can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, of course.
I do want to write more projects, and I have more projects that I intend to write. But like I said, for right now, I think the focus is as soon as I can, getting the Hellcat out of production hell.
I under I understand, but like me and Gloria said, it's gonna happen. It's gonna take some time, but it's gonna happen. I believe it's gonna happen.
I also have the goal of helping my sis, you spell out at MomoCon. So like if you're going to MomoCon, stop by the table. Blue will have her Siphon Copler variant covers for the first issue of Stars. You can come and get them, and you're gonna want to get them because she has a new cover. Like, he tier upgraded the cover from the first complete player variant one that he had for her. There's an upgraded one, so if you own the old cover, you have a collector's item, but also if you get the new cover, you have the brand new cover, the shiny new cover. So you're gonna want that. Also, I think she will have some other things for sale, including some t-shirts from Planet Blurred Tees, and a bunch of other cool things. So you're gonna want to start. She's so mad at me right now because I'm making this about her and not me. But this is my goal, so it's about me. Okay, shut up. It's all about me. I'm gonna be at her table, and I'm probably gonna be standing up and talking to people and being like making them come to me in whatever way that I can, just because like this is my goal. She said I could come help and be her handler, then I'm going to do the best job that I can. And if we don't follow, it's gonna be, gonna be a personal feeling of mine. That's how I'm treating it.
But no, I like asking you this question because this is the last time I feel like you've accomplished some of the goals. Like I feel like manifestation is something that's been part of your career throughout. So I know that some of the things you're saying, probably the next time you ever come or you ever speak is gonna happen. So I'm excited for that. And again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for wanting to come back and sharing all the new stuff. And for people that want to continue to follow you and everything that you're doing, plug in all the socials where you want people to follow you, to see what's happening right now.
Thank you for having me. It's honestly like that. I appreciate when people want to work with small creators because I am a small, despite having like amazing opportunities.
Yeah.
And again, I have to credit to my support system more than anything else. Um, it still means a lot that like you don't just look at numbers or like how somebody looks and be like, oh no, I don't want to work with her because she's white, or I don't want to work with her because she don't have the numbers. Like the fact that you have been so willing to not just have me on AnimeInkArt live talks, but also like to interact with me outside of that has been amazing for me. Like I really appreciate you and all of your support. And I hope that I am giving you even, and I like a quarter of the support that you've been giving me. I appreciate it so much.
No, you do. You do give me all the support. People don't know how much he shares and likes and is always in the broadcast channel. Like it's there. I see it all the time.
But in terms of you can follow me basically anywhere. Uh, as SJSlays Cosplay, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads. I don't really use those ones as much, so like you'll mostly see me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I'm trying to get better at using the other ones, but like there's just so many platforms, and after a while, it's like it's too much to maintain. I'm starting to post a lot more of my art and personal stuff over on my personal page at Mythology of SJ. I'm going to start posting more to my Substack as well.
Okay.
You can also follow the gaming cosplay community at 242 Cosplayer Nation on most sites. On Instagram, particularly, it's 242 Cosplay Nation because they messed up something, and now I can't put it as 242 Cosplayer Nation. But you can see all of our projects. If we do events like the award ceremony. You can see like who the cosplayers were nominating and even have a chance to vote for them if you want to. You can see their accomplishments. I also put out the newsletter monthly for them that you can sign up for and see like what we're doing that month because we are trying to be more active in the community with shoots, other things, but also like give little interviews for people so you get to actually see a little bit more of like our individual cosplayer stories because that's something you don't always get inside of a post. So yeah, if you sign up for the newsletter, you can get that monthly and it's automatic. So like you don't have to do any extra work. It'll just go straight to your email. But yeah, that's mostly it. Like I said, I think right now it's just a matter of in terms of clawing myself out of burnout, but also like trying to be a little bit more organized because during the crash out year, I let a lot of things go unorganized. Now I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna get better. Like we've already started. We're already doing our artwork.
Yeah.
I may start doing like more like live draws and things like that, just because that's something I've wanted to get into for a while. So we'll see if it happens. We'll see if it happens. I feel like if I have a lot of goals, I'll accomplish a few of them. I'll at least accomplish a few of them, and that won't make people feel so bad if I don't accomplish them.
I definitely understand that. Just from all the other, like, I feel like I relate to all the other side quests that I've been doing too. I'm trying to do the same thing, but I just want to thank you so much for coming on, and thank you guys for the past 2 days. It's been a very Caribbean slash West Indian representation and AnimeInkArt LIve Talks, so that made me very happy. And we're gonna be
Hearing you and BDI talk to one another because this is something that like this is something I get told all the time.
Yeah.
Is like when I was in school, I was taught to well, many Bahamians were taught like we should not speak in a accent. We should code switch to appease to the tourists. Like to appease the tourists, we should not. We should speak proper English. And I think, unfortunately, fed into that a lot. And it wasn't until like my late 20s that I started being like, that's bullshit. Like that's classist and racist and all of that.
Yeah.
So like, but also I love like, and this is something that I say like when I sometimes do it unintentionally where I naturally code switch to be more personable, but whenever I'm around my Bahamian friends or like when my American friends hear me talking to my Bahamian friends, they're like, damn, yeah, come on, like, so being able to hear you and be hyper to one another, I not only do you hear her beautiful accent, but also you can hear yours come out in little phrases when you're talking. So it's just, I love that. I feel that.
You see, I didn't even notice until I think I watched it back, or I have to watch it back. And but no, you're right. I just enjoy it. I just enjoy that there's more people that like relate to that sense, like almost like nervousness because I was like, yeah. But yes, for people that don't know, I guess you especially heard it in the past two shows. Yes, I'm proud of where my parents are from, even though they try to hit me in the head, so you weren't born there. But listen, I'm still Caribbean American. It's still part of so I am proud of it, and I'm happy I was able to have both of you guys on. Shout out to BBI member, shout out to you. And we're also gonna have two returning guests soon that are coming on the show. So shout out to Taco Noir. He's gonna be talking about the mystery boxes that are coming out. For those that may not know what I do outside of these shows. Anime Ink Art is my brand, is my art brand that I started in 2021. It's extended because I also have a lot of interest. So sometimes it combines cosplay because I do anime merch. This is the most recent one, and some of the art here is mine. Trying to get back into it because, like SJ said, for her, I'm getting out of my own burnout. So that's coming soon. We've been doing a rebrand, hence why there's a new logo, hence why there's a talks page because I'm trying to center some of that. So you guys may be seeing me um a random page just adding you. There's a reason for that. Clips because I need the people for the clips. if eventually we switch to there, we can. I'm just trying to acclimate because most of you guys know me from here. I need you guys to warm up to that page first before I just start going live. So therefore, I've been like showing that page here, sharing with you guys, doing the clips first. We just started the YouTube channel and everything, so that's good. We're also like working on the table setup. We try to vent in, New Jersey. We're trying to vent outwardly. You may have seen me do cosplay collabs because that's the extra thing I've been doing. The podcasting is really new. It's really something that was like a networking opportunity, and I just ended up loving it, and it's grew more than I expected. So I do appreciate you guys for that because I get myself into things and I don't know the impact that it's gonna have. So I do appreciate that, and thank you for supporting. Continue to support. Um, uh, Thank you for being here throughout the year of me figuring things out. I'm still figuring things out. It's not perfect at all, but thank you for being here, guys. And I hope you guys have a good night and look forward to the show on Friday. We'll definitely share about it, and I hope you have a good night. Bye, guys.